Welcome. This is what has been happening on the Sun today, May the 1st, 2011. Get your maypoles out. Happy May Day. Solar activity has been modest over the last 24 hours, so let's take a look at the sunspot regions and see why. Regions 1195, 1199 and 1202 are hovering on the west limb and will disappear in the next 24 hours. Region 1200 has evolved into a single spot region and is not showing any signs of growth. Region 1203 looks quite respectable. There are two small spot groups following on behind it which I suspect are actually separate regions and should be numbered as such. The region to the west of Sun Center in the northern hemisphere is still there and has a few spots but still has not yet been numbered. But all in all, these regions are relatively modest and have a very low flare potential. And with the loss of region 1195, I suspect that activity will quieten down a little bit for the next couple of days. From the GOES X-ray plot, we see that we had two C flares in the last 24 hours. Both of them are fairly long duration events, which would imply that they are associated with coronal mass ejections. The first of these, which was late yesterday, could have been associated with that coronal mass ejection that I showed you in yesterday's video. However, that was off the east limb, and both of these flares have been tagged to region 1195, which is on the west limb, but there have been no signs of any coronal mass ejections off of the west limb. So quite frankly, I'm confused by all of this. The mystery deepens when we look at the stereo A data. We see region 1195 in the south near disk center, but it's not showing any real signs of activity. Most of the activity in these images are from the regions in the north. That implies that these long duration events did not come from 1195. Perhaps the Solar Dynamics Observatory can help us solve the riddle. However, from the white light and magnetic movies, we do not see any major developments in any of the regions. Region 203 on the east limb may look as though it's growing, but that's generally an optical illusion from the fact that it's rotating onto the disk and therefore seeming to spread out and get larger. So no help there. At the time of the first of these two flares, there's nothing particularly bright in either the helium-304 or the coronal movies. In fact, the brightest region visible is on the northeast limb, where we did in fact see a CME yesterday. Nor can stereo B help us much, as we only have a few short snippets of data. The filament in the southeast seems to have reformed, but not erupted again. So let's take a look at the SOHO coronagraph data and see if we can pin down where these CMEs are. In the C2 images you can see that there is a coronal mass ejection off of the east limb, the remnants of the one that we saw yesterday. If you look carefully in the northwest, there is a faint coronal mass ejection. But very little is going on in the southwest, where region 1195 is. The larger field of view C3 instrument shows yesterday's coronal mass ejection moving out into interplanetary space. Next, looking at our 360-degree panoramic view of the corona, we see that coming up onto the disk in the next few days we have several bright regions in the north. However, we're not expecting any major regions returning in the south for at least a week. The auroral zone continues to look disturbed, and from the KP index we see that it's varying between 3 and 5, 3 being quiet, 4 being disturbed, and 5 being a low storm level. So in summary then, the sunspot number is at 76. The X-ray background is still at B3. The radio sun intensity is at 110 solar flux units. The solar wind speed is around 600 km per second, even gusting to 700 km per second at times. And the KP index is varying between 3 and 5. So my forecast for the next 24 hours is that we've got a good chance of getting C flares. The chances of M and X flares I think are fairly low. We should continue to get coronal mass ejections, and the chance of a major geomagnetic storm is low. However, with the high-speed coronal wind, conditions should remain unsettled for a day or two. If you want more detail about what's going on the Sun, check out the links listed in the description box below. Also listed there are links to earlier versions of the Sun today, and other solar-related videos, plus a few videos on global warming which might amuse you. So that's it for today. Keep safe. Bye for now.